Astrological forecast for November 2025 for representatives of the sign of Virgo. November 2025 for you is a time when it will be possible to correct much. You will have an opportunity to use those chances or proposals that you once rejected, or to bring to a result those processes in which you once did not achieve success. That is, November, it gives an opportunity of repeated chances. It gives an opportunity to correct that which we committed without thinking, by mistake. This month will give you an opportunity to close some long-standing question, the resolution of which was not easy for you and required your efforts and even a manifestation of stubbornness. The main thing here in order to achieve success is to act in the way that is in general characteristic of you, without fuss, without haste, preserving confidence in the result. This can be some bureaucratic question, technical or organizational. Retrograde Mercury in November, figuratively speaking, will return to you for refinement, for rethinking, for correction those your plans, ideas, or processes that you were engaged in at the beginning of October of this year. And the November new moon will give you new food for thought. This can be a new theme for reflections, for discussions with your friends or your relatives. This can also be some new interesting task for you or a new road. In relationships with the circle of your communication throughout November, there can be some disagreements. And here it is important, on one hand, not to say anything superfluous, not to let something slip, and on the other hand, not to believe on word those people who have already let you down once. Retrograde Jupiter throughout November will help you obtain results that you deserve, that you have long been waiting for. And these results, they can be both in material form and emotional, in the form of respect from the side of surrounding people, in the form of your pride in yourself, in the fruits of your activity, your results, and not only your own, but also the results of your children. In this month, you can repeatedly or temporarily engage in a matter that you were already engaged in once before. The astrological advice of the month for your sign: do not be afraid and do not be shy to speak about what you need or what you want. After all, often it seems to us that our surroundings already know about it, but in reality this is not so. Therefore, the astrological advice of November for your sign sounds like this: speak, and you will be heard. Also in this month, here there can be an important decision from your side regarding family matters, connected with real estate or place of residence. Also you can, figuratively speaking, choose the strategy of your actions in relation to your relatives. Let us discuss in more detail the most important astrological events of November and their influence on your sign step by step. On November 2, the planet Venus will be in a tense aspect in relation to the planet Jupiter, which will be affecting your 2nd and 11th astrofield. On this day, attentiveness is needed in relation to money, finances, in relation to one's values in different senses of this word. On this day, you can ponder how your expectations in life turned out to be deceived only because you were confident, convinced that certain people would act in relation to you in the way you would act in their place. Throughout this day, it is important not to try to please someone. It is important to be yourself. On November 4, in the starry sky, the most tense astrological configuration of November is served. This is a position between Mars and the planet Uranus. Mars is strength, energy, action, and Uranus is a revolutionary, unpredictable, extravagant planet. Therefore, the events of this day, November 4, they can go beyond the frames of the habitual, ordinary. This aspect in your horoscope will be affecting the 4th and 10th astrofield. And the energy of this tension can manifest both in personal matters and in external circumstances. Throughout this day, it is important not to risk and to try to take care of your safety, not to visit such places where potentially some problems are possible. On this day, it is worth taking care of your emotional safety, including not starting any quarrels, clarifications of relationships, not to hurry, to plan your time with a reserve. Since on this day there can be various kinds of disruptions and unforeseen circumstances, that is, your schedule and your timetable can be disrupted. Therefore, it is better to plan your time with a reserve. And considering that this aspect will be affecting your 4th and 10th astrofield, here there can be some tense, unforeseen moments connected with household appliances. For example, these can also be questions connected with your work. For example, an unexpected conflict, an unexpected conversation with your superiors, or unexpected unforeseen inspections from the side of controlling organs. In general, for this day it is better not to plan the resolution of any important questions, especially such that may require from you efforts and a certain share of risk. On November 5, a full moon occurs in the sign of Taurus in your 9th house of the horoscope. The full moon is completion, culmination, it is clarity and results. The full moon in the 9th house can bring you long-awaited information or a parcel from afar. That is, the 9th house, it symbolizes everything that is located far away. And on this day you can resolve some question remotely, receive a parcel that you are expecting, or, perhaps, a question of your cooperation with people or organizations that are located far away, are in another country, will be resolved. Also on this day you can resolve questions connected with the bureaucratic side of your life. These can also be questions connected with the acquisition of tickets, with the receipt of some documents, a visa, or any permits. Also throughout this day, there can be a meeting with a person who is very close to you, although territorially he may be located far away. And also throughout this day, there can be an important conversation or meeting with friends or relatives of your partner in your personal life. Also on this day, you can make an important decision that concerns your work. This is a good day for taking exams, submitting some reports, documentation. That is, this is a day that sums up the results of what you were engaged in throughout the past month. On November 6, the planet Venus, which symbolizes all joys and earthly blessings, transitions into the space of the sign Scorpio, your 3rd house of the horoscope, where it will be located right up until November 30. Venus in the 3rd house, it will bring pleasant and advantageous communication. This can be pleasant correspondence with your friends, this can be flirting, this can be pleasant information that you will receive, or joyful meetings with your friends, acquaintances, or with your brother or sister. This is also a time when you can receive benefit, profit from trade, especially if you are indeed engaged in the realization of some goods, services, information, or provide intermediary services. Throughout this period, that is from November 6 to November 30, you can acquire various kinds of accessories. This can be a scarf, a watch. These can be glasses, a mobile phone. That is, you can acquire some things without which, in principle, it is possible to manage, but these things are needed by you for creating, so to speak, a harmonious image. Also throughout this period, an important conversation for you can take place. A conversation for which you are preparing, which you possibly even somewhat fear, but this is that theme about which it is necessary to talk. And this is a time when it will indeed be possible to conduct a successful conversation on a not very pleasant or even slippery theme for you. On November 8, the planet Uranus, the planet of the future, the planet of progress, returns briefly until April 26, 2026, returns into your 9th astro field. Uranus was located for your sign in this sector since 2018. Then it briefly left this sign, and now it in retrograde motion returns here with a concluding visit. And this time since 2018, which for many of you could bring a radical change in the position of your affairs. This aspect, this transit of Uranus, it supports your undertakings. And many of you during this time could have learned a new profession, created your own enterprise, your own business, started working in a completely new direction for yourself. For some, this supporting aspect of Uranus, it could manifest through changes in personal life or through a move, resolution of a question connected with your place of residence. And now Uranus, once again, already briefly with a concluding visit, enters this sign. Therefore, you again have the possibility of various kinds of undertakings, various kinds of startups, since Uranus will support your initiative. In the period from November 9 to November 29, the planet Mercury, the planet of information, contacts, our logic, memory, the planet that symbolizes documents, calculations, and also short trips. Mercury will be in retrograde motion, and this retrograde motion of Mercury will be affecting your 4th and 3rd astro field. This is a time that will bring you the necessity or desire to repeatedly sort something out, to clarify something, to make clear, to re-register, to correct. You may repeatedly discuss some themes that, it seemed, were already resolved, but you will want to once again clarify something or change your decision. Also, This is a time when repeated situations can arise, and you periodically may have a feeling of déjà vu. On November 12, a conjunction of retrograde Mercury with the planet Mars awaits us. This conjunction occurs in your 4th house of the horoscope and shows that on this day you can make a decision that is connected with your place of residence or with intra-family matters. You will begin to implement this decision a little later, approximately in the middle of January 2026. On this day, you can rethink some situation that is connected with your place of residence, with matters that concern your family, or with matters, for example, that concern repairs or some purchases for the home. And on this same day, November 12, the planet Jupiter, the most generous planet of the solar system, turns into retrograde motion, which will last right up until March 11, 2026. Retrograde Jupiter in your 11th house, it will give you an opportunity to repeatedly use those chances or proposals that you once missed, or which you did not use due to some reasons. In more detail about the essence of this retrograde motion of Jupiter and the luck that it can bring to each of the zodiac signs, about this, I will make a separate detailed video. On November 19, in the starry sky, the second tense aspect of this month will form. This is an aspect of opposition between Mercury and the planet Uranus. This aspect will be affecting your 3rd and 9th astro field. This aspect symbolizes actions that are quick, sudden, sharp, or unexpected. On this day, plans can be violated. You yourselves can sharply and unexpectedly, even for yourselves, change your opinion or decision. Under the influence of such an aspect, we are inclined to act without considering the consequences. On this day, disputes, conflicts are possible. You can express that which has accumulated. Throughout this day, it is important not to joke with electricity, electrical appliances, and also to control your time and try not to get involved in any plots that require nervousness, fuss, and haste. On November 20, a new moon occurs in the sign of Scorpio, in your 3rd house of the horoscope. The new moon is the birth of new energy. Accordingly, new plots come into our life. The new moon in the 3rd house can give you a new theme for reflections, for discussion with your friends, colleagues, or relatives. This new moon opens, figuratively speaking, before you a new road. That is, here a new matter can appear, which you will be engaged in and with interest. Here there can be a meeting with friends whom you have not seen for a long time. You can receive an invitation to somewhere, to some place where you have not been before. Also, this is a time when you can study some information that you need for resolving these or those questions. You can also buy tickets. This can be a ticket for a trip, for a tour, a journey, or a ticket to the theater. On November 21, the planet Mercury will be in conjunction with the black moon in your 3rd house of the horoscope. And on this day, it is important to try, so to speak, to hold your tongue, since here there is a probability of saying something superfluous, about which subsequently we may regret. On this day, it is better to avoid such decisions that we make on the principle, now or never. Throughout this day, we can be forgetful, we can lose something, mix up, make a mistake in something. Therefore, attentiveness is needed here, and important decisions or actions that are connected with documents, on this day it is better not to undertake. On November 24, in the starry sky, a very interesting configuration will form. The planet Mars, the source of strength, energy, and actions, will be in tense aspects in relation to the karmic lunar nodes, which will be affecting your 4th, 1st, and 7th astro field. Such an aspect of Mars in relation to the karmic nodes, it happens approximately once a year. But such an aspect that affects precisely these zodiac signs, precisely these houses of your horoscope, the last time was on January 2, 2007. That is, this aspect does not happen so often. And in essence, on this day we find ourselves at a fork in the road between the past and the future. We choose our strategy. And the matter about which the speech may be on this day, it can be connected with family matters, connected with your place of residence, with your real estate, or with a man who is a member of your family. In more detail about the influence of this aspect, its essence, I will make a separate video, since this is indeed a large and interesting theme. On November 25, the planet Mercury will be in conjunction with the planet Venus in your 3rd house of the horoscope. This is an aspect that shows optimism in our thoughts. On this day, we can have such an elevated emotional state and a state of our mind. On a practical level, on this day there can be a pleasant meeting, a pleasant conversation, an advantageous purchase, or an advantageous deal for you. On November 28, the planet Venus will be in conjunction with the black moon, again in your third house of the horoscope. This is a treacherous aspect that generates, so to speak, distorted feelings and distorted perception. Be cautious in relations with those people who openly flatter you or tell you overly sweet speeches. On this day, there can be meetings with toxic people or with people who are inclined to give promises that they will not fulfill. Therefore, throughout this day, one needs to be attentive. On November 30, the planet Venus transitions into the space of the sign Sagittarius, into your fourth house of the horoscope. Where Venus transits, their improvement awaits us. Improvement material or emotional, and the fourth house symbolizes our place of residence, our home, and our family. Therefore, for you begins a period that will improve intra-family relationships, improve the very atmosphere and climate in your home. Here, questions connected with real estate, with purchases for the home, or repairs can be resolved favorably. That is how, from the point of view of astrology, November 2025 will be. I wish you a wonderful, successful month, dear Virgos.